This is a 100 card Magic the Gathering Commander deck. This is a single-sleeved 100 card Magic the Gathering Commander deck. And this is a double-sleeved 100 card Magic the Gathering Commander deck. And this is my Commander deck. No, up a little bit higher. There you go. This is a standard 100 card Magic the Gathering Commander deck box. This is one of 2 deck boxes for my deck. Typically, when you're playing Magic, you will have in your hand something like this fanned out so you can see them clearly. This is, of course, the incorrect way to be playing the game. Instead, my Commander deck, the infinitely better version of the game, that was truly the way Richard Garfield intended the game to be played. For the cards in your hand to be put onto pedestals so you can observe the cards in your hand in a ring light fashion. Now, you may be wondering, why? And my only answer, the only answer to that question is because. I'm Sam Huggins. This is the most ridiculous Magic the Gathering Commander deck ever made. Now you may be wondering, what could possibly compel someone to take their beautiful, fun to play, lovely Commander deck and put it into hard shell cases that make it nigh impossible to shuffle, and a very heavy thing to bring around, and frankly a nuisance in all realms of play. So the commander of this deck is Garf One-Eye. Garf One-Eye is a great 5-color commander because Black Lotus is in the card text, and that's an expensive card. The deck focuses around my personal favorite pet card, Sorrow's Path. I have done a video describing my relationship with Sorrow's Path in the past. It is one of the worst cards ever printed in the game. This is a copy signed by the artist for me, and this deck, this beautiful monstrosity, is devoted entirely to killing my opponents with one of the worst cards ever printed. And how exactly do we do that, you may be asking? I don't know, man. I killed someone with it like once, mostly by accident. Just kind of give it to them and they tap and untap it till they die. To give you a little taste of what playing with this deck is like, I'm going to demonstrate to you what it feels like to have a hand with this deck. This is what it typically looks like when you have a hand with this deck. You align the curve of cards in your hand with these stands, and you curve them around yourself so you can see them and none of your opponents. Although if you have someone to your left or right, now their deck contains a lot of cards, as you can see. And so how are we going to find the cards we need for the deck? Now you may be wondering, Sam, this deck looks a little hard to shuffle. Normally, if you want specific cards, you rely on tutors, cards that grab specific cards from your library and then cause you to shuffle your library after. That looks a little hard to shuffle. So there's no way you're running tutors, right? I run 15. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe. To be completely frank with you, after tutoring for cards, I don't even bother to shuffle. I just cut part of the deck and my opponents trust me. If I want to play with the deck, I have to pile shuffle it in advance to the event. Typically, having the stacked cards lying against the wall is not very convenient. It's about 2.5 feet tall, and if you don't have a wall for stabilization, it will not actually be able to stand up. So with this in mind, typically I do play with it in the pyramid formation, as you can see here. Typically grabbing cards from the top, then going left to right down the previous stacks. Now, cards in the graveyard are invisible. This is a cool mechanic that the deck possesses that not many other decks do. And I think it does give me a bit of an unfair competitive advantage, but there's got to be some perks when you're giving yourself such a disadvantage to begin with. Now, I know what some of you may be wondering. Is it tournament legal? Now, for storage of the deck, we have these beautiful Ultimate Guard Treasure Hive deck boxes. They're not actually meant to be deck boxes per se, but that's because the creators of this product lacked creativity, imagination, and a general joie de vivre. Now, I want to show you how this beautiful deck looks within this. This is the deck inside of the Treasure Hive deck boxes. Unfortunately, due to what I can only assume to be errors on the part of the manufacturer. Each of these can only hold 90 of these. It is, of course, a 100 card deck. This caused me immense sadness, great pain, and caused me to buy 2 of them. Luckily, having 2 of them has other perks. For example, we can carry all of the stands for the hand and our commander inside of the deck box, as well as 6 additional decks in case I don't really feel like the hassle. Now, there are a few reasons why people tend to play with sleeves. One is they are better at shuffling than unsleeved cards. 2, that they protect the cards and help maintain resale value. And 3, that they may have some aesthetic portions that the typical card back does not. Some people even double sleeve their cards, including a small thin inner sleeve that both protects the card largely from water and further scuffs and damages. So you may be wondering, is there a reason why these cards are not only in inner sleeves inside of these cases, but also in these magnetic cases themselves? Because the cards are very valuable and the actual deck is very expensive. No, the cases cost more than the deck does. Now you have some information as to what it's like for me to play the deck, but what you probably don't know by this point is what is it like to be an opponent playing against my deck? Well, there are a few factors. 1, the raw intimidation factor of the Leaning Tower of Pisa being your opponent's library. 2, you can go to all of your opponents so your cards are better protected than the majority of their collection could ever possibly be. And 3, all jokes aside, I brought this deck to my local game store a few times for their commander night, and whenever anyone there sees it, they're laughing, they're smiling, everybody loves the deck. A lot of people are very disappointed if I don't bring the deck with me, and in general, it's a fun thing to talk about. It makes the game way stupider, way more fun. It increases my enjoyment of the game. It often increases people playing with me enjoyment of the game because the deck is so ridiculous, and I think that's what Magic was always supposed to be about. Just have fun. I'm Sam Huggins. Thank you very much for watching. Don't do what I did, unless you want to do it even bigger, at which point you have my honor and respect. Have a good one.